The Raiders are again taking some of the top players from the top programs because they're trying to build a winning culture.
Finally.
And dipping into LSU and dipping into Alabama is going to get you some of that culture assimilated into your own culture. But
it's smart money.
Smart money, exactly. So with that, we have another second first-round pick as the Jacksonville Jaguars move onto the clock.
And who's at the top of the board? Okay. This is going to be an easy pick. They lost some people.
Is it though? Because you got a quarterback who's still available in Love. They could still go that way. You got
Jefferson.
Receivers. They need help at corner. There's still a lot of the second tier corners who are available. Safeties are available. Some of the top guys.
Here's what I think is going to happen. They can't risk passing on. With Telvin Smith not being there, they got to go Kenneth Murray.
Even though they already took a defensive tackle with the 9th pick. I think they double down on defense.
I think they're cool with Gardner Minshew, and they might just be tanking for next year. And if you're really sold on Jordan Love, you would have taken him higher. Like, if you really want your quarterback, you don't wait. And they say Jordan Love could be like Mahomes. Well, if you have Minshew and you have Love, you have a rookie and a guy who actually proved he could play a little bit. So if Love loses, then you have to go back to Minshew. And if Minshew's bad, then you're just stuck with a rookie who wasn't ready yet. Whereas if you get Queen, you can shore up that defense with Jacobs. Leon Jacobs not doing so great. You got Miles Jack not doing so great. And Telvin Smith, you don't know if he's going to come back. Boom. Start over. Throw in a Kenneth Murray right in the heart of your defense.
All right.
Solidify that front seven.
Well, we send it over to Jacksonville. The pick is in. With the 20th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Kenneth Murray, linebacker, Oklahoma.
With this pick, as Kenny already alluded to before it happened, the Jaguars get essentially a quarterback of their defense. They get a guy who can play multiple positions at backer and really just, again, doubles down on the defensive focus that has historically followed the Jaguars and you know, losing all that talent the past 2 years that they really lost. This essentially gives them an anchor on D-line, an anchor at backer, and they have another pick coming up early in the first round where they can get a corner and address their needs at secondary, and boom, they'll be close to being back in business, at least being competitive again.
Yeah,
so
because this is a deep corner and receiver draft, so you might as well get a linebacker like Murray. At least solidify your front seven, if nothing else.
All right, Kenny. So, you know, obviously the Eagles are now on the clock. There's been a lot of talk about them getting a receiver
Or corner.
This is a deep receiver class. Do they get the receiver now? Do they get a corner now and punt on receiver? How do you think that whole situation comes up? Because as much flack as the receivers got last year, they were also hurt. So, you know, whatever they do with Jackson and Jeffries, you have to at least have some hope that, you know, those guys get back to healthy and help shore up that position.
They got tight ends, but they definitely need someone. They got a running back and Miles Sanders. Yeah, they can get corners. They need corners, but
they do need corners. But they drafted a lot. They signed a lot of, like, you know,
they got Slay.
They have Slay and they have Jones and Douglas who can kind of play. So, like, Jones, yeah, the position still needs to be upgraded, but
Jones is the jury's still out.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think Justin Jefferson has to be the pick here, 21. You saw what he did at LSU. He'd be the perfect slot receiver and a dependable option for a guy like Carson Wentz.
And with the 21st overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Justin Jefferson, receiver, LSU.
And Philly hates everything, so they boo. They boo everyone. They booed Santa, Beyonce. They probably booed Christ, if we're being honest.
But yeah, as Kenny alluded to before, this is a slam dunk pick once again. Jefferson, he's a big body, but also is quick, agile. Ran a 4.42 at the combine. Some people say it was even faster than that. But regardless, we all know that infamous juke he did in the title game.
He juked Tanner Muse out of a safety position in the NFL into a future linebacker, which ain't bad because he ran a 4.41. So, shout out to Tanner Muse, probably going to be a 5th-round pick. But hey, it's worth it.
But yeah, the point is the Eagles get somebody who can come in and really, I think, will make that entire group better. As you said, they already have a guy in Jeffries who can do a lot of, the possession stuff, and you got Jackson who can take the top off the defense. Now you get Jefferson who can do a little bit of both and flex into both of those spots as well as needed when those guys go down for injuries, because we all know they will. So I love that pick. It's one of my favorite picks. Like, it's one of the easiest picks I think that will happen. The only situation where I don't see that happening is if, for whatever reason, the Raiders don't take a receiver with their first round pick, then they could be potentially looking at taking Jefferson at 19.
Yeah, or Denzel Mims. Oh, like the Eagles talk to him a lot, but I feel like he might sneak into the first round.
Yeah, Mims is a guy, and also Higgins.
Speaking of which,
with the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings are now on the clock. Now this is not the pick they got from Buffalo, right?
This is the pick they got from Buffalo.
Yeah, so this is essentially the pick they got out of the Stephon Diggs trade. Is there any scenario where they don't go receiver, Kenny?
They could go corner.
They need corners. They lost Mackenzie Alexander and Trey Waynes, two guys they invested a lot of playing time. Well, they cut Rhodes.
Yeah. So because I think they're going to pick up a receiver, I think they're going to go receiver and corner. But since this guy's still on the board, and there's not a lot of top flight corners left.
They also lost your boy Everson Griffin, so they could also go edge rusher here as well.
I mean, Danielle Hunter wasn't a first-round pick, so they can find edge guys. I think they're going to go Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor.
Wow.
I don't think they want to risk it. Oh, no, I'll take that back. I think they go A.J. Terrell, corner out of Clemson.
Motherfucker. And with the 22nd overall pick, Minnesota Vikings select A.J. Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. Now, we all know Minnesota loves corners you can't tackle, so this naturally makes sense.
He's fast enough?
He's fast enough. He's played inside and outside. He's a press man corner, which is kind of what Zimmer likes to do.
He's 6'1", got more picks than normal.
He was considered really a top 10 pick up until the national championship game, where he pretty much got shitted on
by the best
whole
receivers
secondary
in the country.
Yeah, so a high upside pick, but also comes with some solid production and proof. I think for me though, the issue that I have with it is Christian Fulton was still on the board. Yeah,
but how high are you on Fulton over Terrell? Because in my mock,
that's a conversation I had a lot.
In my mock, I went against it. In my mock draft, I personally had Christian Fulton going 22, but I'm like, Terrell seems like a better fit.
He seems like a better fit. Bigger. Yeah, and I think Terrell is going to be more ready immediately to play outside versus, Fulton, I think, is going to be better in a place where he's able to play the slot, at least for the first year or two.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you would want him anyways, so that he can use his speed and athleticism and playmaking skills, really.
Oh, God.
And now...
the dark side music. Da, 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 da. Da.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. You gave this team their future quarterback of the future. How could you?
Wow, so quarterback's a slam dunk here?
It has to be if this man, who I'm thinking about, is still on the board.
But if you look at that roster's not as good as people think it is. They have a lot of holes on defense. They could use a receiver. They could use some line help.
A corner.
They could use a corner. So they have needs, and they traded away their second round pick, I believe. So it's really.
But you need a quarterback of the future, and I don't really trust Jared Stidham. I think the Patriots, if this man is on the board, I mean, I like AJ Espinosa out of Iowa. I think he's the perfect Patriot. Or Zach Bond, even though he failed. He had a diluted sample for his drug test. But honestly, I would guess if he's still on the board at 23, the Patriots just say Jordan Love, Utah State. And then we watch as he becomes like a fucking all-league quarterback, and we're like, damn, some of these teams have to do was just take a quarterback.
I just think it's crazy. Can you imagine New England having a black quarterback
in the first round?
Free Jacoby Brissett.
Free Rohan Davey. There's a list of black quarterbacks who are actually pretty nice and ended up stuck behind Tom Brady.
And with the 23rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select
Jordan Love, QB, Utah State.
And now we move to them boys.
The Saints.
The Saints. In the 24th overall pick, Saints can go a number of ways. Again, one of the hardest picks to mock. One of the hardest picks to mock because there's so many receivers here. There's
edge, running back,
edge, corners. They're a team that, but most of all, I think their biggest hole, and the reason why I'm drafting for the hole in this position is because the Saints are still, committed to trying to win now for Drew Brees, and I think the only way you do that is by filling that need at linebacker. And so, this guy has fallen down boards because of his failed drug test. I think he'd be a perfect pick to play Sam backer, and he's also
it's a 3-4 defense they run,
and he's also able to play weak side backer and drop into coverage, which he was telling us at the Senior Bowl, but people have been talking about. So with this pick, the 24th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints select Zach Bond, baby.
Wow, I'm kind of shocked.
And now we move back to Minnesota with the 25th overall pick. The Vikings are on the clock.
This is an interesting one because I think they have to go receiver.
They already went corner. They also need tackle. Remember, Reef is 31 and entered in the last year of his contract. Can't even tell you who the right tackle is, but probably trash.
O'Neal.
Their guards are trash.
No, the offensive line was better this year. But if you lose
you gotta
Diggs,
you got to replace Griffin.
You have to replace Diggs.
Do you, though? Because remember the track record with drafting receivers in the first round. They didn't get Diggs in the first round. They didn't get Thielen in the first round. Okay. You know who they did get in the first round?
Cordell.
Trey and Cordell. So they don't have good luck with receivers in the first round.
Williamson.
But there are some guys, Mims, Higgins. There's a few guys there, but I don't know. What's the pick?
They could go AJ Espinosa. Because apparently he was compared to Carlos Dunlap by Mike Zimmer. I'm not going to lie. I think they go.
I mean, honestly, they could even double up on corners. Like, they need corners bad.
Nah, I think they go Denzel Mims.
Wow. Baylor Berry out here giving out checks. And with the 25th pick